All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Tech Bros. Roy and I decided to go live because we're a minute late. Kind of realized we might as well give you guys the evidence about why we're so late. Roy,
I can't even believe this.
There he is, finally.
What did you tell them?
The reason why we were late.
I think I showed them more than I told them, to be honest.
What did you say?
I didn't say anything. I just went live and one person wasn't here,
I said I forgot my water downstairs. I was here the whole time. I said I forgot my water downstairs. I'm going to go get it. But I know you're going to start it when I'm gone. And then he said, "No, I won't. You can trust me." That's what happened.
And then I told him I said, "Start it."
I just listened to Roy, to be honest, because he understands, the nature of people's time more than both of us. So, yeah, I followed his directions. So, anyway,
defamation at some point.
It is defamation at some point. We got a lot to talk about. A lot's going on. I put $1,000 on the Chiefs, so I'll be keeping track of this Chiefs-Jaguar game, which we'll probably talk about the prediction markets. It's the first time I've ever made like a big bet, so we'll see what happens there. But a bunch of different topics. I think the first thing we got to talk about is Hoodie breaking through 150 last week. I mean, we had our Tech Bros on Monday when the stock went from 120 to 130, and I think all of us were pretty excited. Since that, it went from 130 to 153. It's now at 145. Pretty incredible price action. It was down about 3% on the day, and there were some things that happened today that might have contributed to that price action. But Roy, let's start with you. Raw thoughts, man. 120 to 150 blew away all of our price targets. What do you think is going on right now with Hood?
I think a lot of it is people realize, obviously, they're the market leader. They as far as growth, not that they're the largest brokerage by far. They got a lot of work to do there, but leader in terms of also shipping products, in terms of expanding their TAM, including cross-selling products to their users that users actually love. And a big part of it too is predictions market. By the way, Amit, I did predictions markets too that were not, rate cut probability stuff for the first time. I did sports betting actually. I've never done that before. I'm like, I should at least
over the weekend.
So I bet on the Titans to do a big upset, and they did. And then I bet on the 49ers as well. So I did it twice, and yeah, I got some money and not addicted. Don't worry, not betting on the Chiefs or anything, but wanted to try it out, see what it actually felt like, because I'm like, hey, I'm an investor. It was a small amount of money. It's like $100 or something. So, like that I bet. I made a lot on it, but it was fun. It was nice. I see why people like it. Very simple to use, and I really like that you can get in and out. But I mean, this is a product that is ramping quickly. Kalshi is putting up some ridiculous numbers, and I think Robinhood is too. And it's just really here in the United States. So like, as they're eyeing internationally, as they expand in that TAM, they're just starting to advertise too. I've not seen it, but some other people posted things. There's a lot of room to run in this. So and of course, that's just one product that didn't even exist at this point last year. So it's like just how ridiculous Robinhood is.
And I don't even think that we talked about them going international with prediction markets. That was last week. So yeah, Hood's in early talks with overseas regulators, including UK's FCA, about launching prediction markets outside of the United States, as per Bloomberg. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be a huge market. That's for sure.
What was your reaction, Tanner, last week of it breaking through 150? Like, I guess the question is, why do you think it actually was able to get there?
Because they're winning in every single vertical. And I think prediction markets was that one this time. Option markets and like call volumes just hit an unbelievable high. So I think people are just seeing, hey, if the markets are going to enter a more, not euphoric, but more euphoric, more excitable market and these sort of things, that's just going to benefit Robinhood. Yeah, that's a good thing. That's a very good thing for the company that's the toll road for all financial services, really.
Yeah, Go ahead.
I was going to say, we have to talk about this tweet, though. Eventually.
The one.
What happened today?
The retweet?
Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about that after this. I was just going to say, I think they got re-rated again last week. Like the entire stock got re-rated. I mean, and we knew they were in an upwards trajectory. We knew S&P 500 flows were coming. So Monday last week, they got the inflows. I think it was pretty obvious to them. AppLovin, like that 10% surge was all inflows. But then every day they went up another $4 or $5. And it was either prediction markets, it was international expansion, it was Vlad tweeting that the credit cards have crossed 450,000 users, banking is starting to get rolled out. DraftKings was down last week while Hood was up. I mean, there was a ton of different narratives. Bitcoin and crypto, Ethereum started coming back over the weekend. You had a lot of different things playing out for Hood, and I didn't know if it was possible for it to get re-rated again, but it got re-rated. And now, and the reason I say re-rated is because if this thing falls back to 120, that's a real dip. That's $25. So I think you're going to get dip buyers, but also you're going to get people wondering, like, hey, like, did something serious happen for it to go down that much? When in all reality, it would just be a regular pullback. But if it does go down that much, I think that the narrative might change, right? And people will get interested to buy, which means it might be forming theoretically a base around 135, 145, which would be exceptional because that would, again, be contributing to this whole re-rating thesis, which I think is super cool. So I have no idea where the stock price goes, but if S&P goes to 7,000, Bitcoin gets anywhere near 150 by end of year, 145 might not be where it stops.
Yeah, if it could form a base at 139.99 by Friday, that would be amazing. So just random number out there, throwing it out. I may or may not have some underwater covered calls.
Yeah,
it ran so hard last week. I did not expect that. And I even rolled, and man.
Yeah.
The Hood bulls and AMD bulls have that in common. The covered calls are underwater.
Yep.
Jeez.
All right, so let's talk about what happened today. Tanner,
can I? Oh, all right, I'll do it.
This is what you want to talk about, right?
Yeah. I was gonna push it off because there was the Robinhood Gold Card information, but I'll do that after.
Yeah.
So Anthony Noto ended up retweeting that Robinhood essentially went down for some users based on, some pretty large volume this morning. So what did you guys think about this? Is this fun? Is this stupid? Anthony Noto publicly stating that this is something that he wants to share on his account.
I actually really like it. We saw, of course, Robinhood, for context, during the event, their most recent event, when they showed off shorting, they picked SoFi, and it was not by chance. Anthony Noto has made some disparaging comments towards Robinhood and like saying stay in your own lane when they launched the Robinhood Gold Card. A couple other comments too that seem targeted to Robinhood. Robinhood, obviously, I don't think it's just by chance that they picked SoFi. So it's just a little, tweaking of their nose. For Robinhood, I don't think it really matters, like the retweeting or anything. And the brokerage side of what SoFi does is so little. Like they're a gnat compared to Robinhood. They just are. But I think it's actually really important for SoFi, just because we've not seen that product cadence the way it should be. Anthony Noto is a big sports guy. He's a big competitor guy. And this sort of stuff drives and fuels you, even if you're not motivated by money, if you're not motivated by whatever it is, like that pride and that rivalry, which we can clearly see, it's getting Anthony Noto to respond. I think it's a good thing for SoFi shareholders. For Robinhood, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I think it drives innovation and comparison between the two companies. And if the company that you're going to hold your standard to is Robinhood, I mean, perfectly fine with me. If that's what you hold your team to, great. So I think it's fine. I'm long both businesses and think they'll both have an amazingly large future.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tanner, you called it a fun rivalry. So my response was that in the spirit of a fun rivalry, I don't think SoFi has ever experienced the traffic, at least the Invest platform, necessary to even have an outage in the first place. I don't make anything of it. Noto retweeting it is whatever. I do think Noto is. He's not.
Say it.
I don't think this guy has built a consumer-facing product that is at all exciting, meaningful, or something that is innovative, quite frankly. And so for him to take shots on Robinhood for this, I just think it's like a little too cocky and aggressive. And given he comes from the sports world, I like the cockiness, but cockiness and being aggressive and, that sort of taking jabs at each other is good when you're on the same playing field. SoFi's not on the SoFi is not even, it's not even a question when it comes to Robinhood Invest, right? Other stuff is different. But so I think it's kind of weird that he retweeted, like, what, you want to promote negative press of Hood on a platform that you barely compete with? You just put out options after freaking 3 years. Like, what are we talking about? So I don't know. I thought it was cringe, quite frankly.
I'll be right back.
To me, I thought it was cringe. It didn't seem like they're on the same playing field, bro. It's like this night and day. What are we talking about? So again, like SoFi doesn't get the traffic even needed to even think of having an outage. So I don't know why he's retweeting this stuff.
Yeah, and I don't agree with everything there, but I do agree with as far as the traffic. Like they're not data-driven investing. Mentioned, SoFi Invest was up, and he's tongue in cheek. He's a Robinhood investor too. But I told him,
what did he say? What did he say?
He said, SoFi Invest didn't go down, and there were some that didn't go down. Smaller brokerages. There was a lot that did. Maybe not.
Did he say that as a joke, or was he serious?
He was mostly joking, and so I joked right back, and I said, well, to be fair, if SoFi Invest went down, would anybody notice? So,
well, yeah, basically, yeah. I mean,
they're just different scales. SoFi. I mean, they have a product, but they don't compete with Robinhood on that at all. And I don't mostly, like, even if you look at the product offerings, they're not trying to. So I think that this is more at the overall rivalry rather than just the brokerage. And honestly, I'm enjoying this as a shareholder in both companies. I think it's good as long as it doesn't become over competitive, like you've seen with Snowflake and Databricks, where they are like willing to destroy themselves and their own business to get at their enemy. That's when, as a shareholder, you worry. But this is fun.
What I miss?
No, nothing. We were just reinforcing the same point. What did you guys think of the actual outage today, though? I mean, because that definitely was a big thing. Now, Webull, Fidelity, IBKR, other platforms had outages. That is documented throughout the day. In my live chat today in the Market Open, a lot of people are getting outages across the board. I think it's because of the whole AMD thing surging 30%. Just tons of volume coming in. But Robinhood was, I think, probably the worst of it. So general thoughts on the outage that we saw today.
Tanner, you can go first.
Yeah, I didn't think too much of it. Obviously, no one likes to see it. It might drive the more active investors away if, they had lost money during that time or didn't optimize their gains during that time. That can lead to sour tastes on a platform. But overall, I don't think it's going to be a too large of a deal. Tens of thousands of users. I mean, we're at 27 million. So, yeah.
Roy?
It is probably more than tens of thousands. That's just reported down. So, it's probably hundreds of thousands. I wasn't affected, thankfully. But, those that were, I mean, that stinks. But nature is like that happens to any business. I responded to a comment and posted some screenshots too that basically there's a guy that was guessing that APIs were the issue, that the market data that was fed for quotes was not getting fed for whatever reason. Because, I mean, it wasn't obviously cloud providers. Otherwise, it would have been more than just brokerages. So something that a lot of these businesses use, not them themselves, was hit. It may have impacted Robinhood more, but I think part of it too is there's just more Robinhood presence on X. And so that's part of it. And if you're looking at active traders that are wanting to hit that on the open on Monday, Robinhood does dominate that too. There's on other platforms too, but so it's not good. It's, there will be some people that leave and get mad over it. It gets the headline because, the GameStop stuff from a long time ago, and there's just people that hate market leaders. They just do. And so whenever one of them stumble, they like to laugh, whether it's in sports, whether it's as a business, whether it's in a professional field. So, and maybe there'll be a class action lawsuit, which isn't a big deal at all. But these things happen. Now, if it happened like just to them, that would be critical. Or if it happened, if this happens like every single week or, even a couple of times a month, that's really not good. But yeah, this, not a big deal.
Yeah, I think two things. I think one, we haven't seen an outage like this on Hood in a very long time. So it's the first time in I think at least a year since we've seen any significant, like meaningful. This was about 20 minutes, so this was definitely meaningful, especially at market open. Number two, I agree, it likely was an API issue with the data feeds because even Webull, I tried to search AMD because the legend charts weren't working. So then I went to Webull, typed in AMD, nothing popped up. And so they probably use the same data brokers, or at least in the same realm of data brokers, and that was affecting old brokerages. And we had a live chat. Lots of people are saying Fidelity, IBKR, and for other people it was working. So there's tons of different mixed response. For some people, Robinhood was working, but nonetheless, it seems like it affected everybody today. My issue with all of this was you go on Twitter and the GameStop stuff that happened in 2021 has led people to think at any moment, if there is an issue with Hood, it is these guys are in a conspiracy with the biggest market makers and hedge funds on Wall Street to screw the little guy.
Yeah,
and it's really hard because some people are just fucking stupid, and you're just like reading this stuff and you're like, oh my goodness, you're not a smart human being. Like, and I understand conspiracy theories are attractive and juicy and stuff. Like, yes, Hood wants to screw their users and have mass outages and screw their insane multiple they're getting at $130 billion market cap and ruin their stock-based compensation because they want to make Citadel get a juicier share of the profits when it doesn't even affect Robinhood if Citadel does well, because Citadel actually does well when Robinhood users are trading so that Robinhood can send them the data. So I just realized today, some people on this planet genuinely are not smart individuals. Like, they're actually stupid. I don't know how to say that in a way that doesn't sound insulting, because I want to insult them, but I also want to sound compassionate to their stupidity. And I want to say the R word. I really want to. I think this is the moment where you would say the R word, but I'm not going to say it. But like, these are the types of moments where you would say these people are just regarded or something, right? Like, how's the politically regarded? Some of these people are just genuinely regarded, but there's nothing you can do about it. So
yeah, I think it was. I think more than stupidity, it's bias more than anything. And I mean, it's all over. Now, one thing that I saw, I'm curious if you saw this too, Amit, because I was curious what other people were saying on the Kobesi letter, which got a lot of traction. I like almost maybe 1 million impressions. There was a lot of negativity. But unlike previous outages, I saw a lot of people rushing to defend Robinhood, and it wasn't just us. And I'm like, I don't know if that's like more retail shareholders, a product of that, or also just because they've done such a great job with these events and with engaging retail that they're like, hey, no, this isn't just right. But I was like, whatever it is, I'm like, I love to see that, especially when it's misinformation. Like, it's just Robinhood. It's like, no, it's not. Like, give me a break. If us three are the only ones saying it, like, we can get drowned out. But when there's dozens and dozens and dozens of people saying, well, actually, it's not just them, I think that's helpful. So did you guys notice that as well? More other people like defending Robinhood?
I would say it was like 70% hate, 30% support. And by the way, the support wasn't, Robinhood's the best in the world. The support was just like, dude, like, this happened to, they were being very reasonable. Hey, this happened to other platforms. Hey, Robinhood is actually really good. It seems like it's an AMD thing that's affecting everybody. It wasn't just blind support for Hood, which is what I think a lot of people think. If you're a Hood investor, you have, it's like, no, dude, I don't have blind support for anything. I acknowledge this morning, this was not a good look for Hood, but to say it was exclusive to Hood, or to say Hood is now in a conspiracy with Ken Griffin to make sure AMD does better for the market makers is just, again, it's not a smart thing to say. So yeah, I agree. There was more support, but there still was overwhelmingly more hate. And I do think that's actually a good thing, because that means there's alpha. That means people still are so upset about 2021. And those are the same people that will not buy the stock, that will eventually have to buy the stock if the stock keeps executing. And it seems like this outage won't stop their execution long term.
I don't know if they need to buy the stock, but yeah.
S&P 500 maybe.
Yeah.
My point is this wall of worry, right? Eventually you need buyers. You need people to capitulate. And I feel like a lot of those people that were crying at $8, they might end up buying when it's undeniable.
People also have a small view sometimes, like they might not even know that there's other brokerages that went down. I mean, you're obviously looking for it. You're commenting on the news, but I see some people, like, whenever the whole market's down, everything's red, and people go, why is SoFi down? It's like, the market's down. Let's relax, So I don't know. People worry about what they're into. And if you're using Robinhood and that's your only platform, and you're day trading and, having some swing positions and everything, and you're about to close out on some options that morning, that sucks. It does.
Yeah, but see, like this comment, this is what I mean by this is just not a smart comment. Like, Amit will never say anything bad about Hood. How does that make sense?
Say 3 bad things about Hood right now. Hood, say 3 bad things about Hood and their management. Go.
Well, dude, the irony about the irony about this comment is that I literally used Webull charts over Hood charts the day Robinhood got into the S&P 500, and I had to take so much shit. I had to take so many shots from the employees when I went to the Hood Summit, and Tanner and Roy were there about all these employees saying, "Why are you using our competitor?" And I had to tell them, bro, because Legend kind of sucks. So you got to fix some shit. So the idea that I will never say anything bad about Hood, again, these people have narratives. And it's okay to have your narratives, but some of your narratives are regarded. And I think we need to recognize some people have regarded narratives that, you know, they need a little bit more critical thinking on this planet is necessary. That's what I realized today. A little bit more like, hey, let me just like go back and reassess my opinions and question my assumptions. This is, you know, this is stuff I think they hopefully teach in like high school, like just critically think a little bit before you rush to a conclusion. But with Hood, people are so emotional. And I guess that's how it's always going to be, which is a good thing. I think that creates enough of a wall of worry for Hood long term.
You know what? The tools that enable people to make money, whenever they go down, the amount of hate is insane. Like if Nike goes down, no one worries, right? Like no one cares. If Shopify goes down and those stores cannot, you know, collect payment, boy, oh boy, look at the wall of merchants that are just like, you know, these executives need to be executed. And so I don't know. It does happen, but overall, Shopify's gone down before. They're a bigger company than ever today. Robinhood will be a bigger company in the future. They'll move on from this. But
any company that touches people's money, like when it goes down, that's when people are mad, especially when it needs to be a timely thing. So, you know, I patted PayPal here too. Like same with PayPal. Same with any other payments app as well, for that matter. Coinbase,
yeah, Coinbase as well. Yeah, those are all big ones. SoFi to its degree does not go down, but
that's true.
That is true. I like them.
It still has gone down, but to its credit, it does have some of the like the GameStop thing. There was a lot of brokers that got caught up in it. SoFi was not one of them. You could buy on SoFi all day long. Look at Amit thinking back.
No, I'm just thinking like all of us are pretty objective, dude. Yeah, like yes, we hold the stock, but we are pretty objective. Like when prediction markets came out, Roy was not a fan of it, right? Tanner has, I don't know what, I can't think of it on top, but Tanner has critiqued Hood plenty of times. I've literally said I can't use Legend. Like we've given so many meaningful critiques that it kind of hurts when people say we're not objective. I'm like, dude, like we didn't get here by being just fanboys. Like the stock has gone up because the company's executed. So we are fans of their execution, but we've pointed out when things, you know, maybe are not the best. But at the end of the day, I think this narrative
doesn't really benefit anybody. It doesn't really benefit anybody. Like if you're just blindly bullish and everything is great, like that's the way you get hurt as an investor. Because then when things actually are going south, when they're slowing down, when it's kind of rough and there's warning signs, that's when you miss it because it's like, oh, it's all fine. This company is amazing. It's the best in the world. And you get crushed. So, you know, avoid the echo chamber. We all try to be, you know, we see things differently too. But that's why I really like you guys is none of you are just 100% bullish on even Amit, like Palantir is your biggest company, biggest thing. And you're not 100% bullish all the time on Palantir. You've been critical of them, especially when there was a lot of reason to be critical. Now you have to kind of search for it in the past. And
dude,
Tanner,
for 2 years, we criticized their sales and marketing on Palantir Weekly, but people forget about that because they didn't watch for 2 years. But now that Palantir is up, they're like, oh, you can't say anything bad. It's like, well, because there's not that many things that are bad anymore, but there was at one point.
And Tanner will call out SoFi when it's like, hey, this isn't good. I'd like to see this improve. Always very balanced and reasonable. He's actually really amazing at pivoting when things change.
Honestly, everyone needs to get them a hype man like Roy. It's incredible to have him by your side. You know how good I feel? But thank you. But if we don't start talking about something important and exciting, I'm going to freak out.
Well, I will say, hold on, before we go to AMD and this AI stuff, Roy did some due diligence and he found some juicy LinkedIn screenshots of Vlad and Alex Chris in the UAE meeting with royalty. Roy, I'll let you take it away. Any analysis on why these two guys are in the UAE?
Yeah, so I won't get like too deep in the PayPal stuff. Well, I'll just mention like they put a regional hub in the UAE back in April. They hired a amazing guy basically to run that hub, and there's so many ridiculous partnerships that they come out with. And I think that there's more coming too. Like this isn't just a hey, thanks for coming, nice to meet you. Because Alex Chris, like this is actually the second meeting they've had with this guy, who's basically either the number 2 or the number 3 guy in all of the UAE, depending on how you look at it. Now, what surprised me is I was researching because of DW World and that regional hub and everything for PayPal. I didn't even know that Robinhood was there. I know that they filed for a permit at some point to launch a brokerage, which Dubai would be an amazing regional hub. That's what they're aiming for by 2033. They've set all these different goals as it relates to finance and the economy, and I think they'll probably hit it. But like Vlad being there, I don't know that they got any press at all. So it's like, I think in essence, it's just a formality that it's a done deal that they will be allowed to launch there. And that's a really excellent hub too. That's well connected to finance all over the globe. So it's going to get a lot of attention. So very bullish for both companies. And if you look, by the way, at his last thing is, if you look at, I can't pronounce his name, too many names there. HH, starts with, it's not like they're meeting with fintech or finance CEOs all the time, especially from America. It's actually pretty rare. Like there's a few other companies there, but yeah, very interesting. And back to back, like almost within 3 days.
I like it, bro. Dubai has a lot of money. Like if you're a fintech, financial services company, you need to be there. You need to get some of that money. So I like it. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. SoFi also applied and started having some things in the UAE as well, and then pulled out whenever it was right around 2022. And then they started focusing more on margin rather than growth at all cost.
Okay. All right. Next big topic we got, folks, outside of the chat wondering what Tanner's eating, because there's like 50 comments wondering about his dinner tonight. AMD and OpenAI. So this was a big one. OpenAI will buy 10% of AMD. The final tranche of their options or warrants, I should say, is granted when AMD is $600 a share. AMD is going to be providing 6 gigawatts of data centers. So that's about $10 billion per gigawatt. And OpenAI will be able to, if they can execute on these data centers, get 10% of AMD. So essentially AMD is giving up 10% of their company for the execution on OpenAI to build out these data centers with their MI450 chips. And OpenAI is creating a lot of value for AMD by buying the chips and creating a lot of revenue, EPS growth. They're participating in that revenue, EPS growth by getting a stake in the company, and they get their final stake if AMD becomes a $1 trillion company at $600. So this was a big deal today. Roy, what was your take on this?
It's awesome for AMD, but it's really weird too. And this right here wasn't mine, but somebody posted this. I thought it was great how these negotiations went, because it's rare when you're like, hey, we want to buy your product, give us 10% of your company. So we would like 6 gigawatts worth of your chip to do inference. Terrific. That'll be $78 billion. How would you like to pay? Well, we were thinking that you would announce the deal and we'd add $78 billion to the value of your company, which should cover it. No, I'm pretty sure you have to pay for the chips. Why? I don't know. It just seems wrong not to. Okay, why don't we pay you cash for the value of the chips and you give us back stock, and then we'll announce the deal and the stock will go up and we'll get our $78 billion back. Yeah, I guess that works. So I do feel like we should get some value. Okay, you can have half. You give us stock worth like $35 billion and you can keep the rest. It's like, it's a little odd. And the other little funny note is, since NVIDIA is getting a stake in OpenAI, that's indirectly giving them a stake in AMD, which is hilarious.
Yep. Okay, so Tanner, you're the big NVIDIA bull here. What was your takeaway on this deal, not only for NVIDIA, but for the broader AI sector?
For NVIDIA, it doesn't matter. I don't think that this changes anything. I think that obviously investors would like a company like OpenAI or Microsoft or Meta to choose them exclusively. But they're not dumb, right? They want to diversify. They want to try to reduce the reliance on one company So they're not getting their eyes gouged out by insane margin. But regardless, NVIDIA is still by far the bigger player. They have the better chip. They're going to see more demand than AMD, but AMD is not dead. So for NVIDIA, I don't think it matters much. I don't think it changes anything. But for OpenAI, I think that it's showing that just the amount of token generation required from these businesses is so much larger than anyone would have guessed a year ago. So these deals are just crazy. And OpenAI and Sam Altman's vision for the future is larger than maybe anything we've seen. So does that scream bubble? Does that scream, wow, this is the largest transformational technology we've ever seen, and we have the tools to deploy it today? I don't know.
There he is. Roy's coming back. Yeah, I mean, dude, this was a big one today. This was a really big one. I didn't wake up expecting they would announce like this, but they did.
The terms of the deal are nothing like the NVIDIA deal.
Yeah, not at all.
They're opposite. AMD's paying them to get their chips, and OpenAI is saying, hey, we don't have 100% cash, so can we pay you in cash and equity? And Jensen said, okay, cool.
It really showcases, the strength of the position of NVIDIA there. It's NVIDIA clearly. I'm biased. I am an NVIDIA shareholder, but I am for a reason. I think they have a better product. Now, that doesn't mean AMD's product is trash and there's not a market for it. But when you have to give away equity for somebody to buy your product versus the other is like, okay, you want their product, great, give us money. Well, you don't have enough money, give us some of your company. That's showing that leverage that they have.
Yeah, NVIDIA gets equity in OpenAI because of the leverage, whereas AMD has to give up equity in their company just to get some leverage. I mean, it definitely that's a good take. It shows the difference between NVIDIA and AMD right there. But I think to your point, Tanner, it just shows how big the demand for compute is.
Overall, yeah. AI and the companies that are adjacent to it have very, very large hopes. But then that brings up the question of bubble. And I'm just hearing this a lot right now. And I don't think that they're like, I'm bullish, but Steve is like essentially putting zeros on the concern level.
Yeah.
Or if there's a bubble, and I'm not. There's definitely can be times in transfer. Like, we have to remember that the tech bubble was transformational technology, but the investment came in too large and too fast versus how long real apps were going to take to be built on the internet. So is that happening today? Everyone continuously says, hey, you know what? The products, the engineers, the future self-driving cars, the robots, all of this is coming. I'm sorry to be timeline Tanner, but if the timeline is too long and the capital expenditures are coming in too fast, destroying free cash flow, is there going to be another Brad Gerstner letter that ends up coming out to say, hey guys, we need to focus on, being a profit generating business again?
Wait, you think Gerstner would send that letter to like the hyperscalers?
Yeah, to a Meta or something.
There's
like
no
this.
way. Gerstner has a shit ton of NVIDIA.
I don't mean honestly, Gerstner. What I'm saying is that some activist investor would be worried that they're throwing cash into a furnace.
Yeah, this is one of those tells that at least, I think that there are segments that are bubbly, maybe companies that are. NVIDIA, like if this was just a pure bubble, A, you wouldn't see these massive contracts the way it is. And B, like you would see the multiple instead expanding, but instead that's not the case. The multiple is actually trending down at the same time as the share price is going up, which is showing these are real results. Now, the question is, of course, if it's sustainable. It certainly looks like it is. The demand is very significant. And it's not just NVIDIA. You can look at many of the other big companies. I think TrendSpider also had one on Micron, which is just like doing amazing things here and having real results. But yeah, doesn't feel bubbly to me.
And you know what? I don't think it's a broad-based thing. Like, I haven't sold a single share of NVIDIA. It makes up for a large percentage of my portfolio. I'm very bullish on that future. But am I putting a zero on the concern level whenever Paul Tudor Jones says, hey, we're actually closer to 1999? Because I do see these.
Tudor Jones said 1999. The NASDAQ was up 86% that year.
Yeah, but that's what he said. He's saying we're still going to double, but you don't know at that time whenever the elevator is going to like.
No, but so then what? We have to double by early 26 is for it to line up timeline wise.
By if he suggests it was October of 99 to March, so 5 months. So March of 2026 is what he says is going to be the end, but it might not be the exact same. I don't like. History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. So,
I mean, but look, if we so this is why I don't think that argument makes much sense. If the NASDAQ were to theoretically double in the next 5-7 months, we would feel the euphoria. And what I mean by that is if just like that picture of Reuters, if the earnings multiple stayed the same, or the stock price went up and the earnings multiple didn't go down, which is, the growth is supposed to get the multiple to go down, or the stock price went up so much that even if the earnings multiple went down, it wasn't enough for it to go down, then that means that it would be not obvious, but we would see that a lot of this is just bullshit. There's bullshit in the market right now. And I think we can all name a bunch of different names that are pure bullshit.
Yeah.
But Nvidia's not bullshit, Amazon's not bullshit. So until those names become bullshit, I don't know how easily we can compare it to 99 versus 96.
Well, I don't think that the large names are going to go away. I'm not going to name those bullshit names, but there are sectors right now that are getting very hot, that are more speculative, that are pre-revenue, that, those names are the ones that I would genuinely be worried about. What I would be worried about for and by the way, I am completely playing devil's advocate here. I don't want people to go away with this thinking that this is my opinion. I'm saying what people are saying right now, is that, Meta, if they are to right size and say, hey, you know what, maybe we can't just throw free cash flow to the side and throw everything at capital expenditures. We need to actually make some real money here because people want to buy our stock at a price to free cash flow that they think is deemable or acceptable. Then if that happens, then Nvidia's sales cycle might end up slowing down or something like this. Like multiples only look good if you can keep up that level of growth. Once that ends, or if sales decline, the multiple no longer looks good, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think that's going to happen because if Nvidia can continue to put up quality chips, then you're going to have to continuously upgrade, and then the cycle will continue. But good apps need to be built in order for this to continue to, make sense. But I heard I think it was Steve and Mitt this morning talking about hundreds of trillions of dollars and these sort of there's only so many humans, right? Robots are not buying these products. It's humans. So there needs to be some level of there's a cap on the amount of capital that the world has to spend.
Well, what Steve said today is that I think the cycle goes on for 10 years. And I said, I don't know, Steve, I think 5 years for sure. 10 years. I don't know if this goes till 2035, but he's now convinced based on this deal, it's a 10-year cycle. I don't know.
Well, Lisa Su thinks there's 8 years left. So he's more bullish than Lisa Su.
I would say probably at least 5. I think when the robots really hit mainstream and start, making a big impact in the labor force, great for companies, maybe not so great for individuals, less spending power. That's when maybe we'll see a lot of contraction. But, I think maybe 2029, 2030 feels, pretty safe. There can always be a black swan, but, who knows?
So I think all this depends on the ROI from AI, right? And so this was what ChatGPT came out with today. By the way, 800 million weeklies now. 6 billion tokens processed per minute. It's quite incredible, the amount of momentum that this company is having. And I would imagine XAI and Gemini are also going to be in this same ballpark eventually. But this is the big thing they came out with today, which is chatting with apps. Figma, Spotify, Coursera, Zoom, all these companies that are now integrated with GPT. It seems like this is the next evolution of how consumers will engage with products potentially. And there could be a lot of monetization opportunities right here, especially around advertising. Tanner, do you think this is where a lot of these companies begin to see an ROI on AI?
Can you rephrase that a little bit? What do you mean?
Well, can OpenAI monetize the fact that users are more engaged now because they can engage with the apps they use every day inside of the platform? And B, could a Canva or Spotify maybe grow more? Tanner disappeared.
Yeah, I'll answer that question. I use Canva often. I use Figma some as well. I've tried the Copilot stuff from Microsoft, and it's, at least at the time, it was absolutely terrible. But I was like, hey, this could be great. And there is some integration as far as PayPal, or not PayPal, PowerPoint in with ChatGPT, which kind of works as long as it actually works and it functions and it's usable. Like, that's a massive unlock for a lot of people. And that does make AI feel a lot more real for a lot more regular people, whether it's you're using it at work or using it just as an individual. So very exciting for that company.
Short StreamYard. I don't know why they would put a leave button without a confirmation. Single click, leave the studio. Are you guys crazy?
Dude, I've been trying to tell people StreamYard is bad. Everyone thinks I just like used it as a scapegoat. I'm like, no, this is actually a horrible platform, but it's the only one.
It's the only one.
Like, that's the issue.
Yeah.
But Tanner, the question is like, and Roy makes a really good point about the way the users will engage with it. But do you think other companies will get better growth because they're integrated inside of an LLM? And do you think the LLMs will be able to monetize consumers using those platforms, Spotify, Canva, et cetera, inside of their LLM?
I mean, maybe, but it might be on a case-by-case basis. Like, certain apps really benefit from Google, others don't. Like, I think it'll be case by case. I wouldn't look at OpenAI as being a top of funnel solution for companies. But maybe it leads to, I don't know. I actually don't know. I don't see it as too positive. I just think that those companies are future-proofing themselves. I'm not expecting additional growth. I just expect them to continue to perform over time. But I don't think the apps are going away. I don't think this is just what AI is going to do. OpenAI wants to make sure that you have the best tools on their app, and then those apps will also have AI. Like Canva, you will be able to access OpenAI and different LLMs, so then they can offer you a great AI product on their side. So there's going to be all sorts of solutions on both ends.
What do you both of you think is the major ROI then from AI? Because all this falls apart if there's no real return, right?
Yeah, I think it's your ability to actually be a manager of AI agents for the most part, that you actually get back your time. You're able to be a lot more productive and then spend your time the way that you want. And eventually AI, like on the consumer level, will be very good, where it just basically does, I can't think of it. Jarvis. It's like Jarvis for your real life, and you just talk to it, interact with it, natural language stuff. You don't have to know fancy programming or anything. And it does things on your behalf. So it's a personal servant. Eventually that'll be in a humanoid robot form as well, but that's actually really amazing.
And honestly, I don't really think that AI is, like, obviously on a back end form, cutting out manual processes and these sort of things are, margin accretive, but technology historically is deflationary. Like, they're usually not margin accretive. It's just, if you don't adapt, you die. So, did the CD companies and the music labels want to go to Shopify or Spotify? Did they want to go to Apple and give them licenses for the iPod? I mean, probably not. They were making more on the CDs. But the companies that did go in that direction and the ones that didn't ended up suffering because the consumer wanted it. So on the app side, I think that it just benefits the consumer. Like as a consumer, it's such a better experience that I'm willing to leave my current app to go to a new one if they don't adopt these customized personal features through artificial intelligence. So it's adapt or die.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think one thing Greg Brockman, the president of OpenAI, said today is that we have a ton of products that we want to put out there into the world to make money and monetize and eventually get profitable, but we don't even have the compute necessary to scale them. Like, they literally can't put out certain products because there's not enough compute. So it seems like the compute constraints, which is what is leading this AI revolution in terms of the investment opportunities, needs to be built out. And at the same time, while they're building that out, they have to scale the software of what they're building it out for. them, XAI, Gemini, Google, all these guys. And if it works out, I think like within 2 years, you should start to see. I mean, we're already seeing it to an extent, but within 2 to 3 years, it should really be more evident. And that's when we'll know if it's fake or not. But I think it's hard to say bubble right now if it's not, if the ROI isn't even possible because the compute isn't there.
Which is crazy, right? Because they're pushing out like video and all these things that in my head, I would think would be high compute problems. Into them, they're like, we have enough to do this right now. But these 10 other projects we can't even remotely think about because it takes that much more. So like, what even is that?
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know.
AGI at least is a goal of a lot of these. I don't know if that's even possible, if that's a real thing or not, but even without that, yeah, there's like, it's kind of like the internet. When the internet was just first new and on a lot of people's consciousness, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't think I'd ever use that. Now it's hard to find a person that doesn't use the internet on a daily basis. And there's so much that's built out that, and AI will go this way too, that, 5 years from now, we'll kind of laugh and be like, how did we miss that this was going to be a huge thing with AI, but it just becomes part of our everyday life. New innovations like that. It's just hard to see past the fog.
Let's do a poll in chat. Who in the comments does not use the internet?
Okay.
All right, let's move on.
Got him.
Do you think OpenAI going public would be the top?
No.
Not necessarily. I would love to see their S1. That's got to be the most viewed S1 in history.
I think what that would signal is, though, that the private equity market has run dry officially, not just for ChatGPT, but for pretty much everything out there, because they're gobbling up a lot of it, and smaller firms are running into that problem. So if they're like, hey, we need more money, and we're not getting it through all these different creative deals and private equity, boom, they go public. And that may be a concern at that point. It's like, they had that burn, so we'll have to see what that looks like.
Brandon Bowman in chat says, do nonprofits go public?
It's kind of wild. $500 billion nonprofit. It's quite incredible.
Yeah.
Like I think this build out is not stopping. And if this build out's not stopping, and I mean, look, enterprise adoption of AI, drug discovery, consumer facing products, robots, FSD, self-driving, like just feel like, Vlad's trying to build mathematical super intelligence. Like the amount of applications is endless. It doesn't feel like it's going to stop. The models are the worst they're ever going to be. As long as we use them, I get to Tanner's point, like billions of people every day use the internet. If that is billions in 5 years use AI, and we're getting close to that being at least 1 billion, it feels like, then there's going to need to be more compute than we can imagine, which eventually means there will be an ROI on that compute because billions of people are using it.
Yeah, Europe may even use AI at some point.
You just offended all the Europeans in the chat. What I have noticed about the Europeans in the investment community is they are a little bit more critical about Europe because they understand that Europe's kind of dropped the flag on technology from a lot of different angles. But even Europe embracing AI would be quite incredible.
We're all asleep anyway, so
no. What time is
okay?
Time in Germany. Oh, it's 4 a.m. That's true. Yeah. Well, put in the chat if you're from Europe, if you're watching us. Tassie. So we got a big announcement tomorrow. No one knows what it is. Bloomberg's reporting it's a new affordable Model Y. We don't know what time the event is, when it's going to happen. But most people are signaling that it's a Model Y. You have some people that thought for some reason they're going to acquire Archer, and Archer was up 15% today based on that. I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case. But if it is a new Model Y, here's the question. Roy, what price does it need to be to actually make it affordable enough for them to take demand away from the Honda Civics of the world?
Okay, so first, if they're going to acquire any eVTOL, it'd be Joby, probably, very vertically integrated. But as far as this, my guess is that, they lost a $7,500 credit. It's not there anymore. And so I think that the new model, the cheaper model, has to be at least $7,500 cheaper, maybe slightly more. I don't know how far down they can get it without just basically giving it away. And I don't think they want to do that at this point. So, are we looking at then maybe like 35,000, which is that affordable? I don't know. Like, it depends on what the actual vehicle looks like. It is for some people, but like, is that a cheap model? It's absolutely not. So, but yeah, I'm guessing around a 35,000 range, not range, but price range.
I have no idea what the price of the Model Y is in American dollars, so I don't know. I can't put it into comparison.
Well,
what is it?
It varies. I mean, Roy, what did you pay for yours? I think mine was like 42.
We had a ton of like referral stuff, and then the tax credit, and then I'm a student because of the PhD stuff, and like another. So we got it down to 32,000.
Wow,
fees, taxes, and everything, which was like
that's amazing.
Ridiculous. Yeah, and 2% interest. So can't get that anymore. But I think the sticker price was 40 something, like 42, 43 before all that.
Yeah, if they don't get this below 35, I think this is a nothing burger. Like 35,000 USD, and I don't think they will. It looks like the source code is showing it's going to be around 40K. Why are you laughing?
Because I just like how everyone was hyping up the Model Y, and that doesn't sound like the Honda Civic comparison.
It doesn't, not at all. But you got the Tesla fanboys on Twitter being like, "Oh, well, it's about the cost per month." I'm like, dude, like $40,000 car is not the most affordable car.
And the people who are buying a Honda Civic are not paying $99 a month.
Yeah, so it's like, if it's not below 35,000, I don't know what there's something to be excited about. Will it help deliveries given the EV tax rate is gone? Yes, but you're also getting a shittier version of the Model Y. They're gonna have to take something out of the car for it to be, cheaper.
Yeah, here's the prices. About 45,000 for the standard. All-wheel is 49, and performance is 50, almost 8. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. 40,000 is not some affordable competitor with the other mainstream cars. But I guess we'll see. Maybe it's a Roadster that's coming. Maybe it's something else comes out tomorrow.
Well, I had a hilarious thought. I know they're not going to do this, but it would be really funny if they just rolled out the prior version of the Y and they're like, "Yep, this is it, guys. It's the cheaper model."
Limited inventory or limited sale while the inventory lasts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, you got a lot of call option buying for Tesla, 500, 550s for November. So people are betting there's going to be something big that's announced.
I'm the only Tesla shareholder out of the three of us, right now?
No, I own Tesla.
You own Tesla too?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, what do you think of the current price? Like, is that, it seems...
I'm buying more here.
Yeah, it seems pretty stretched.
Yeah, there's no earnings. Everything's going down the opposite. The only reason the stock is up is because of the $1 trillion compensation package, and then Elon buying $1 billion worth of stock, which you could definitely argue are somewhat reasonable to get the stock to go higher just based on people wanting to get in and, momentum, S&P, everything's. But Elon said until Q3 2026, don't expect any growth. Like, he explicitly said that on the last call. And in Elon timelines, that's probably mean Q1 2027 until we really see meaningful growth. So I don't know what happens next year, but I do think it's the only physical version of AI that's like investable. And so it's going to get more funds from people that want to get.
I am surprised with the run up recently because, like, I don't know what percentage of that run up recently was on September sale data, but like, that was so much pent up demand from like the last month of having that sales incentive. So I'm just surprised that the stock ran up to 460. Yeah. The multiple will get quite expanded. And then Q4 is going to be the quarter that really matters because that's going to be the first quarter without that sales incentive.
Yeah. And to make it even worse, there's that demand lever that was drawn forward just because of the expiring tax credit. So there's people that, would have bought a Tesla over the next 12 months that are like, you know what? Now is the time because we save a bunch of money. So why not? and you're going to see that hit in Q4. So the market knows that, people know that, but like to the extent of what Q4 might look like, which is usually a really strong quarter, I don't know, man. Like I there is a price where I'd be very happy to buy the stock again, but like here, I'm like, man, it's really stretched. I could be wrong. Robo taxis maybe take it to the next level. We'll see. But the hard thing for me is like, and admit maybe it's the same thing for you. Like first, like Elon Musk is an absolute unicorn of a CEO. Tesla is an incredible company, and then the actual vehicle itself is amazing. And like I've got the 22 Model 3 that we bought used, and the brand new Model Y, which is like, it's so good. And you can see the massive change that they made as far as the upgrades to the fill, just a lot of little features here and there. You get in that car and you feel like it's absolute luxury. It's great.
Yeah, the product is phenomenal. It's just the stock is definitely run up. Now, granted, Brett Adcock, the CEO of Figure, he basically teased their third version of the robot that it seems like will be announced later this week. You do have a bunch of different videos coming out by Elon around Optimus. I mean, that is the wild card where they announced something around humanoid robotics that really re-rates the company. And from a sum of the parts valuation, maybe this one contributes more to that. But I guess we're going to have to see exactly if they can execute on getting the market to see the potential of the robot.
Yeah, that still excites me, but I think it's pretty far away for consumers. So.
All right, there you go. Anything else? We've got about 4 or 5 minutes left.
Okay, so yeah, this, and Chris Patel had tweeted like a version of this too, but I think it was originally on Search Engine Land. It's a little bit old, dated, September 18th. Did you see this, guys? The change in the indexing for Google?
Yeah.
And the impact it had? So like what it is, for if you guys hadn't seen, is basically they changed just a little thing. They removed num equals 100 parameter, which means that you could see up to 100 results at one time, and now it's just 10 instead. And so immediate drop in impressions, query counts. Google did their typical thing of not telling anybody what was up. They just did
basically you're saying Google screwed everybody again.
Well, like search engine guys, search engine optimization guys, if there's any in the chat, I feel for you. Like that industry, I don't know if it's going to be around in a couple of years. It's probably like exaggerated, but like 5 years out, like it's tough. It's a tough place. But like this also impacts like data scrapers, and that was suggested by some. I don't know in here that was perhaps the reason for it. Is that there was a lot of data scraping that was happening using Google search, and this all of a sudden disrupted that as well. So I don't know if they did it to cut off the legs of any kind of competition for Gemini. I have noticed ever since that time, and I'm curious, like for people in the chat too, have you noticed ChatGPT, and also to a lesser extent, I don't use Grok as much, get demonstrably worse? Because I don't know what it is, but around that time, it got so much worse, and Gemini has been so good.
Grok is, I mean, the worst LLM I've ever used in, I don't know what, it's terrible now.
It's that bad for you now?
Okay, so I'll show you a two-part story here real quick. I was going to post this, but then I couldn't crop it properly, and I'm not like you. I don't know how to figure out computers, so I just quit.
By the way, this goes to show you it's Google's world, and we just live in it. The stock was at 150, but it's their world, and we live. They make one change, everything is affected.
So what do I do for a living? And it said, based on your X profile, I thought I was this person named Lori. I've never heard of this person. I have no connection to this person. You work as a pro bono attorney. It essentially just gives off this person's account. I said, my X profile is future investing. And it said, based on your X profile, you're Tanner, and then it knows. I'm like, how does it not know who I am? So I checked. I've got everything checked off. Personalized with memories, personalize Grok using X, do all these things. And I ask it, I'm like, we've had previous conversations. Can you not pull from that? And then it's like, no, I don't have that information. I'm like, I see it in the controls you do. I go to ChatGPT, I say, and I don't even have a pro subscription for ChatGPT. I pay the highest subscription for Grok, the highest. And I go to my free thing on ChatGPT that does not have a connection to my X, does not have any of these connections. I say, what do I do for a living? It spells out my whole life story. And I'm like, this is a hallucination on a different degree. You're calling me Lori. I don't even know who. Like, it's insane. And it's been happening to me for like a month now. It's just so stupid. It's just a stupid model.
Maybe since September 18th. So Lori, have you seen any other LLMs that you use other than Gemini have issues?
Me? Oh, no.
Yeah,
Okay.
Lori.
Stop that. No, they're all fine. Gemini's fine. ChatGPT is perfect. And
I just asked Grok and it gave me a good answer. So I guess this was a you thing. But I mean,
I'll do it right now.
It should no. It just told me you have a YouTube channel, but I guess sometimes it messes up, and so it messed up for you.
Yeah, there's been so many times. It's mostly ChatGPT. I don't use Grok nearly as much, and so I've just been going to Gemini. But did it work?
No.
No.
I'm doing it in the X app. Super Grok. Okay, I pay the high bills. Grok 4 fast. I'm afraid I don't have access to this personal details or resume. What are you talking about?
From what I can tell, you're either a secret agent, a professional nap taker, or someone who's really good at asking AIs existential questions. Secret nap?
Can you not see my X profile?
Like, so much sass.
I actually can't believe this, dude.
Also, why are the Chiefs losing, bro?
Look at this. It's asking, can you please put in your name? I'm on X.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. That shouldn't be happening.
It's the only, like, it's one of the only LLMs that I use because I'm paying however much. Oh man.
Yeah, it thinks might be Peter Schiff's son. And I'm a student at Tulane University engaged in tech and Bitcoin communities, which
and then Elon Musk will come on confidently and be like, we're nearing AGI. Like, shut up. It doesn't even know who I am connected to the account.
Yeah. So like this Google thing, it reminded me again of like just how powerful Google is. I think that this is them flexing their muscles after regulators have constrained them for so long. They had to be really careful about doing anything extra to show that they had a monopoly. And then they're like, fine, they're not calling us a monopoly anymore. Here we go. And I don't think it's great, but I don't know if that's impacting the LLMs or not. I ran a poll. 53% said no, it's not gotten worse since September 18th. So.
Yeah, I mean, look, the LMs are the worst they're ever going to be. So hopefully they will.
No, Grok's getting worse. So that whole thing is a myth.
Maybe the last topic we should do is the big middle finger that Vlad gave to everyone who said prediction markets are horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, he went to town on this. So he said prediction markets are often dismissed as gambling, just as cars were once dismissed as horseless carriages. Like any new innovation, they don't fit neatly into one category. We're already seeing prediction markets disrupt sports books, reshape how news is reported, consumed, and give traders a native tool to price expectations. The shift is underway. Someone says, oh, so basically gambling. And he says, this is kind of poetic. The disruptor need not be the same animal as what's being disrupted. Tell me that doesn't sound poetic. In fact, oftentimes there are significant differences that make the disruptor better and worthy of a new category. For example, the car disrupted the carriage without being a carriage.
I think in another life, Vlad could have been a professor or a teacher, at a very high level university. You can tell when he gets chalk in his hands or anything like that. But that was a vibe that I got from this.
I think basically saying we're making a shit ton off this product. People love using it, and everyone complaining that it's like destroying the fabrics of society is anti-technology. And I mean, he's going to defend it, right? Because they're making juicy net income at pretty much 100% margins. So it's like, as shareholders, look, I want them to keep innovating on this product. And genuinely, like, I think there's a real utility in terms of hedging your positions and things of that nature from looking at what the prediction markets got the Tesla deliveries way more accurate than the analyst consensus did. And then number two, it's kind of fun. And if you lose some money gambling on sports, like that's your fault, right? At the end of the day, you can't blame Robinhood.
Yeah, I think it's so much more than just sports gambling. I mean, yeah, I don't want to just repeat what everyone just said here, but people can complain online. Robinhood's going to continue to gain users and grow revenue.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think the prediction markets are slowing down, even though I'm about to lose $1,000 on the Chiefs. But
No,
you
they're
know,
doing
if I
well,
lose,
man.
bro, if I lose 1,000 on the Chiefs, I got to make the 1,000 back. I got to gamble a different game tomorrow night to try to make this. Then if I lose 1,000, I got to gamble 2,000 on Wednesday night. Like this is how it goes. But no, in all seriousness, I think this product's going to grow and grow and grow, and it doesn't look like it's going to slow down anytime soon.
Anything else?
I think that's it.
No, the gold card thing. They grew gold cards by 45%. I think quarter over quarter, and now up to 450,000 total card holders, which is higher than SoFi.
It's tied. Let's go. The game's tied. Yes. Okay, so Tanner, bullish for credit cards or no?
It's a wait and see moment. I don't know yet. Like, obviously it's exciting, but it is their riskiest product, and there's nothing in second place. So,
yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it does, how it performs. But when they first launched this, I was very concerned, and now I'm a lot less concerned. They've done well, of course, on a smaller size, and we will see. Have to see what it does in the face of consumer weakness. But yeah, we're not there yet, and I'd rather them ramp into a major holiday spend season than just do it very slowly and wait until January, February, or something.
We can't leave without spending 2 minutes on this freaking stock, bro.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
bro.
I mean, so like the nice thing is we survived September, which seasonally for crypto is usually pretty bad. Last year it was actually positive, but it was, it's the weakest month by far. Seasonality is a real thing in the markets, and also especially in crypto. So we're now in October, as it's called in crypto circles. So we're certainly seeing that with Bitcoin and Ethereum certainly recovering. Bitcoin hitting an all-time high, which they do hold as well. Ethereum is doing very well. Do you guys think that we're going to hit past the 5,000 like in October? Because I certainly do.
Yeah.
And what I love especially is BMNR. They didn't run out of gas like so many of the other treasuries. It just they couldn't dilute because they're under MNAV. They had no more money, so they just had to wait for the tide to rise for their boat to continue sailing. They weren't waiting around. Instead, they were trading at a premium for their MNAV. They were selling the shares at a premium, buying the underlying Ethereum at like 4,100, 4,200, which is going to look really, really good as Ethereum continues to grow and ramp. And of course, Tom Lee was at that big event. I don't remember the name of it in Singapore. That was all around crypto and Ethereum too. Just great company, great idea. Love it. Glad I'm in it, and part of the cult.
Taco Friday in chat is asking BMNR to stop diluting. That's like I don't even know what a good analogy for that is, but that's going to be their business. I promise you, they're going to have more outstanding shares tomorrow than they do today. It's what they do.
I feel like they didn't dilute today, which is why the stock really got to go. But it's probably coming either tomorrow or Wednesday.
Yeah. So the way that they're going to definitely be wanting to play it, because one of those, every Monday they come out and they say, hey, these are what we've done. And one of those little things that they note, which is not so little, but it's kind of strange for most companies, is to be boasting about your own liquidity and say, well, you're one of the most traded. Like, why would you care about that? Well, for them, since they are diluting, liquidity is an absolute asset. And so they want to make sure that that liquidity maintains. And so part of that is, yes, that they will not dilute under MNAV, and they're well under MNAV, or over MNAV rather, but they also want to make sure that they don't collapse the share price, even if they are scooping up a lot of Ethereum greedily. Because if they do that, then a lot of retail people, I wouldn't, but a lot of retail people would be like, okay, well, it's over, it's done, it's a fraud, whatever. Lots of names would be thrown out there, and it would not enjoy the volatility, and it would not enjoy the liquidity as it has, which for most companies doesn't matter. For BMNR, it's an absolute asset. So like, these guys are just brilliant in their execution, and it's easy to be buying more and more. I'm being very careful with covered calls this week.
Yeah. It does seem like crypto's on a spring right now. Bitcoin wants to see much higher. I think we fly right past 130 in this sort of run up here. So Ethereum will probably follow. It's been following. That's good for BMNR. I just wish they were staking. I wish there was something permanent that they could make here and add to the books. But obviously, I'm not.
Why do you think they're not right now?
I don't know. Could be the way that they want a little bit more flexibility on what they want to do with their holdings if they need to, I don't know, trim it or lend it out in any other sort of way. Maybe they are making some form of advanced yield that way. But I would like them to stake. It's on the earning or investor presentation. Maybe they have a call and talk about that.
All right. Well,
you're muted, Roy.
I think by the time of the earnings, they will have staked. Tom Lee alluded to it a couple of times, basically said they're looking at options. There's a lot of these digital asset treasuries which are staking, both in the conventional form, but also liquid staking. I think if I recall correctly, Tom Lee mentioned also the possibility of lending, which is kind of like liquid staking. So I'm thinking that they're like, okay, we are a huge size, and so who can we partner with and leverage that to get a better yield, but also find a healthy partner that's able to hold some of our volume up. So that takes time. I'm fine waiting. Now, if we get like past the end of the year and there's no commentary on staking, they've not done anything, at that point I'll be like, okay, guys, you're leaving money on the table. What are you doing? But yeah, right now it's fine. It is interesting, but I think that they'll be able to get better than just the traditional staking. Although certainly they'll want to stake some too, because they mentioned that's healthy for the ecosystem as a validator.
New segment on the show. What are you guys looking to buy this week?
I bought some PayPal already as it opened up. The buy now, pay later thing. It's the least exciting thing that's been announced from PayPal in like maybe all year. Not really, but it's not like a huge thing. But for a lot of people, it's a big thing. And it does one thing really well. It ramps their revenue immensely, I think, over the holiday season. They already had some ramps, and I think that they do in the Q1 as well, without much cost, just because of the take rate on the buy now, pay later is about what they're giving back. There's some longer-term products, and it works well with the Blue Owl stuff. But you can just see like all these different things that they're launching. The DP World video that I did on and included stuff on PayUSD, like, they're not just launching products without a plan, that it's actually integrates with each other. And I'm like, okay, between that and then you've seen it, I'm sure you guys have seen it too. There has been an actual sentiment shift for whatever reason. I don't know the reason. Didn't coincide with the Google partnership with, I thought it might have, on PayPal. I'm like, okay, I have a lot of PayPal. I want just a little bit more, so I bought that. The last thing is Air Test Systems. Bought more BMNR, by the way. And then Air Test Systems reported earnings. I think Algo sold it off in the top line. It was basically trading at kind of like a SaaS that was near revenue, and they have revenue and everything, but they hit analyst targets and everything. They didn't do full year guidance, which was a little bit disappointing, but not too surprising. But if this continues to sell off and we get under 22 or below, I'll probably round my position up to about 10% of my my share. I really like the company, like what they're doing. The earnings were really good. The comments were what's most important. But yeah, that's
wow. Wow, I'm surprised by that.
Why are you saying wow?
It's just a very, very small name to put 10% of your portfolio in.
Yeah, well, so there's a few things that give me a lot of comfort. One is like they're one of these companies that's adjacent to AI and not just a specific segment. They're like, whatever the chipset is, whether you want to just test on the wafer level, and that's actually a lot better, or package parts when you actually start integrating some of these moving parts. These are very expensive products.
You're talking about AEHR, right?
Yeah, AHR. You have to test at some point. A lot of them are testing at the rack level when they've added a bunch of other components. Very inefficient, slow, difficult. You see them like having literally the only gallium nitride testing system that tests at wafer level in the world. They've boasted that, multiple quarters. Eventually someone will get that, but it was a very hard technological problem to actually solve. They didn't know if it was possible. They've had real orders that hit in August and for the units that actually test that. Their Fox XP systems are also scaling as well. Now, the thing is, it's a very long sell cycle because you have to it's not validate. I lost the word, but you have to make sure that the customer that you're able to test their actual system or their actual processor. If you can't, you turn them away. That's a paid thing, which they get routinely. Some of them they announce when they're bigger deals, some of them they don't. So it's basically like a 2 to 3 quarter sell cycle. So a lot of what they're looking at as far as revenue ramp will hit in the second half of their fiscal year, which is you're looking at maybe after like in April. So it's not really that far away. And I don't know. They just do a lot of things well. They've been around since I've been alive. Like they're an old company. They're not super young, but like you talk to the CEO, he's well positioned, very agile. They have massive partnerships. And the last little thing is like that Micron thing that I mentioned with the DRAM. You might remember this, guys, but back in April, NVIDIA was very frustrated with Samsung, actually a number of times. So there's 3 manufacturers of RAM. Real quick, Air Test Systems helps burn-in tests. Basically, you're trying to find any errors. You can think of it like aging a product by a year because you're stress testing it. And so you're trying to get anything that's bad out of the system early. And so you have computer processors, you have hard drives, which if you look what hard drive manufacturers are doing, there's a ramp there too. But you also have RAM as well. And so specifically DRAM or forget the acronym. It was new to me as of like 3 weeks ago. It's a high bandwidth RAM it's DRAM that's very concentrated. It's actually put right on top of the CPUs, which have multiple die cores these days. Very complicated products, very difficult to test. Air can actually provide that. There's massive players out there that also do this, but Teradyne is more of not at the wafer level typically, or they do with some certain products, but they can't do it to the excellence of Air. There's certain things that they can't do. And Air is like, hey, whether you're doing packaged parts, whether you're doing wafer level, doesn't matter. Whether it's gallium nitride, whether it's silicon carbide, silicon photonics, doesn't matter. They can test it all. They're doing it now. A lot of customers have shown interest. And the comments that he's saying are a lot like, to me, Amit, of what Al Sharp said with the demand, like not being able to keep up with demand. So, yeah. I don't know why you guys are laughing, but yeah.
I just asked you what you were buying, and I just got the deep dive.
Yeah. Sorry.
Roy, dude. Roy, I love you, but that was like the longest explanation of just like, what are you buying? And you gave us the whole thesis. And when the stock goes up 20%, you can all give us the middle finger and be like, I told you motherfuckers to buy.
I'm up a lot already. So, but yeah.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. I think he's got like an average of like $17 or $14 or something.
Okay,
Yeah.
I will buy more Grab if it goes down below 6, and I'll probably pitch it to Tanner later this week. So I know people have been asking when we'll do that, so hopefully this week.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Friday. It was supposed to be today. I keep forgetting. Yeah,
it'll happen this week. It'll happen.
What are you buying, Tanner?
BMNR for sure. SoFi, if it gets disrespected again this week, there's another negative analyst that came out. If that continues to get disrespected, I'm going to buy into a strong Q3. I think Q3 is going to be good. And then another one that I want to get that I just continue, I don't buy enough of it, is Amazon. It's getting extremely disrespected, and people forget that AWS is the largest data center company in the world, and people disrespect it heavily. If compute's the biggest issue, Amazon is going to be a player. A big one.
Do you own it yet or no?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I just bought last week at 222. I'm thinking of when I buy more, but I agree with you.
I'll check my average for you.
All right. Well, so Roy's buying Air Systems. Wait, Roy, are you buying on this 20% earnings dip tomorrow?
I'm waiting for 22 and below. I'll add probably like 100 shares tomorrow, like around here. But yeah, 22 and below is when I'll start buying. Down below 20, I'll just $19.99, boom, up to 10% allocation.
If it goes below 20, I'm buying 100 shares just so you're not partying when this thing goes to 50 and you can be like, Amit, I explained to you the hydropower, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yep, you're right.
And quick little note, it is a micro cap. It's under $1 billion, so it's very volatile. So just know that going in. It'll move up 8% in a day for no reason at all, or down 8%. So,
yeah. My average on Amazon's just a little under 213.
Oh,
so
cool.
I'm not far off. I can average.
All right, there we go. App Lovin', by the way. Oh, we didn't get to talk about that, but
Yeah.
I think that should be on everyone's list. I mean, you don't get often a stock that's growing 70% go down 20% in a bull market after the S&P 500. I don't know if it's worth a little bit of a nibble here, but I definitely think it's worth doing some harder DD on if this SEC probe is legit or not.
Yeah, I mean, if it's fake, well, yeah, you got to see the comments from who said it? Compounded Friends.
Yeah, I posted it. Yeah.
That's a great summary. If it is true, and they are not doing illegal things, or not doing legal things, it has more to drop lower for sure. So I wouldn't say this is a free buy, but
I agree. 500 is where the TA folks today are saying there's a gap and just kind of let it naturally get filled there. And I don't know. It's a phenomenal company in terms of their growth. I haven't looked that deep into like the fundamentals of it, but below 500 feels like a nibble's justified. And then you might be wrong still, but like 750 to below 500, it would be a pretty big drawdown.
And they're so well positioned in the ad space too with what they do. So yeah, I got to put that on the radar. Good call out.
Yeah. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for joining us. This has been the Air Test Systems Deep Dive featuring Amit and myself with the main host, Roy. No, you could take us out, Amit. I want that joke out there.
No, thank you, everybody. We appreciate it. Everyone's Twitter and YouTube's in the description. We'll be back next Monday. And earnings season starts next week, so we'll have a lot more earnings to get into. And we'll go from there.
I'm not Lori. This is the amount of nicknames you guys give me is unfortunate.
Nickname.
It's unfortunate. Then my girlfriend says it. Then my friends start saying it. My dad's going to start calling me Lori. It's unfortunate.
Dude, you're the one who brought it up. You didn't have to bring it up, but you did.
I saw 5 comments. Roy called me Lori earlier in the stream.
You're the one who brought it up. Like, they have more nicknames for you than they do for me. They have more jabs at me, but they have more nicknames for you, I feel like.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yes, you're just telling they're going to do it more now. So
Ned Flanders, Toilet Tanner, Timeline Tanner.
Timeline, I like.
Lori. These are good. These are good names.
Yeah.
I like it.
Love you guys. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.